Hey girl, hey, welcome back to the Your Pretty Pennies YouTube channel. I'm Tara Jones-Williamson, financial success coach and lifestyle designer. And today we're in the middle of the Wedding on a Budget series that I put together to tell you step by step how I executed a $5,500 wedding in 6 months when the average wedding right now in 2020 costs about $34,000. So $34,000 versus $5,500, and I'm absolutely happy and excited about the wedding that we executed. I'll take the latter. Thank you. $5,500. Yes, please, right? So today we're going to talk about all things digital versus physical invites. We're going to talk about the guest list, how to be kind of ruthless with your guest list. This was a little touchy subject in the wedding planning process, especially for my mother-in-law and my dad, because they're both socialites basically, and they wanted to invite everybody and their mama and daddy to the wedding and the reception. And listen, it was just not about to happen like that. So please make sure you grab the checklist. Keep watching. Grab the checklist in the description box below that goes along with this so you can execute your wedding on a budget, your beautiful wedding on a budget. And share this with someone. And also make sure you subscribe and like this video if you have not yet, sis. All right? So the first thing I want to start off with is when we started the whole guest list invitation process, the first thing that I did was I created a wedding website. I got a free wedding website from Zola.com, and we use a free template. It was very straightforward. I'm actually going to link our wedding website in the description box so you can kind of see what all we included. It was very simple, streamlined, straightforward. I didn't put a lot of time and energy into it because, again, when a lot of people on the back end and what most people are excited about when they think about somebody's wedding, they don't say 10 years from now, oh my goodness, I remember Tara and Darren's wedding. It was so awesome. Their wedding website was bomb. Girl, they not thinking about your wedding website. The wedding website is there to deliver information, but nobody's truly checking for your wedding website. So don't put too much time, money, or energy into that. Just like with your engagement photos, like we talked about in the last video. You'll look back on them and you'll cherish them, but not as much as you would the wedding photos. So don't put too much time and energy into them. Make them look nice. Yes, make them to where you have good save the dates or good wedding photo, engagement photos for your website. But remember, this is a small piece to the bigger puzzle, and so you don't want to spend a ton of money here at all. Most things that I did here was free, and free. All right, so let's talk about how I got most of the stuff for free. Free wedding website. The wedding website included the venue location, date and time, our wedding registry, collects the RSVP, so there was an RSVP collection page. It also gave hotel and airport information and things to do in your city. Those were the biggest things that I put my time and energy into and making sure the wedding website had. And it was free. It worked just well. It was through Zola.com. Then between myself, my husband, my mother, my father, his mother and father, we created guest lists. So I created one separately. Darren created one separately. Then Darren's parents created one separately, sent that to me. And my mom and dad are divorced. So my mom created one from people she wants from her family, and my dad created one for the people he wants from his family. And then I had to compile it all. Remember, I was the head planner. You're the head planner. Remember, you're not paying somebody to plan your wedding through this process. That's why you need to give yourself as much time as you need to execute this wedding, because you're going to have to look at this guest list and pare down. And at first, especially with my dad and my mother-in-law, like I said, those two were the only ones who gave me long lists of people. Like, they gave me more people than my husband gave me. They gave me more people than my mom gave me. And so it was really hard with them paring down who they was able to invite. All right. This is the way I looked at and the way I approached the wedding. There's two parts to our wedding day. There's the wedding ceremony and there's the wedding reception. seeing as how, as I started getting into the wedding planning process, I seen a lot of the expenses are starting to come from the wedding reception, and the less amount of guests I had, the less amount of money we had to spend out of pocket, right? So my thing is, we're going to have an open wedding, which means I was securing a venue that can accommodate up to 300, 400, 500 people, which we didn't even have that many people on our guest list, but just saying they could comfortably sit 250 people, which is how much we ended up sending as far as invites for our wedding ceremony. I wanted a large venue for a wedding ceremony, and I wanted a small reception. A small private reception allow us to spend less on food, drinks, design work, the decor, a bunch of different things, right? Because as a chairs, you got to pay for chairs, because I hired an event decorator. So she had to pay for chairs, she had to pay for table linens for tables, she had to decorate tables, she had to move things around. So many different things, like it was starting to add up. So my thing was large wedding, small reception. Now, when I told my parents this, like, okay, a lot of these people on y'all list are able to come to the wedding. All of them can come to the wedding, but only a select few are coming to the reception. They didn't like that so much, because they're from a generation where most people, if not all people who are invited to a wedding, are invited to a reception. As a millennial, which me and my husband are, we didn't really care about all that. Our thing was, I want you to be a part of our wedding union, watching us exchange vows, but we want a private reception because it is more of a priority for us to be financially stable in our marriage than it is for us to make sure we invite everybody we know to the reception. We can see y'all at the wedding ceremony. We can kick it later. We can have a housewarming party. We can get together. We can go out on the town later. We don't need to necessarily have this big old wedding reception. That just wasn't our highest priority, right? So we made sure we secured a venue to where it said, hey, everybody's welcome. Children are welcome. Everybody's welcome. And then our reception, no children, immediate family and friends only. So for our wedding guest list, we had about 250 people that we invited. For our wedding reception, so wedding ceremony 250, wedding reception guest list was about 75 to 80 people. Big difference. Imagine feeding 250 people versus feeding 80 people, seating 250 people versus 80 people. If I would have stuck with the 250 people at the reception, we couldn't have secured the venue that we did because it would have been too small. We got a small venue that's not even naturally for weddings. They don't even create that space for weddings. It's actually a fellowship center for a church, and we turned it into a wedding venue, and we'll talk about that in my later video. We turned that into a wedding venue, but it only had limited seating for about 100 people. So if I would have kept the guest list open for the reception, I would have to pay double or triple the amount for a wedding venue than I did, which my dad only paid about $500 for the wedding reception, and we paid $500 for the ceremony. The ceremony seated 1,000 people. The reception seated 100 people, right? So that was our mindset going into the guest list. It's going to be tough. There are going to be people contacting you saying, hey, I only got the information for the wedding ceremony. Where the reception at, right? And what I said to those people who were invited to the ceremony but not the reception, the only thing I said was, hey, my family, which my dad did, but you can blame your family if you want, and say, hey, my family is throwing us a private reception dinner immediately following the wedding. You are able to come. People who are not coming to the dinner, they can come after, let's say, 8 p.m. to enjoy refreshments, any dessert that's left, and also dancing. this was key. I had friends, so people who weren't invited to the private dinner, the reception, the main reception, and sitting down and eating plated food, they were invited to come after 8:30. By 8:30, 9 o'clock, the dance floor was open, the dessert was out, the chocolate covered strawberries was out, the hot chocolate fountain was out, like everything was out, but the food was wrapped up. And a lot of our elderly and older family members were gone. Therefore, it was much more seating room. It was room on the dance floor, obviously, because a lot of people that was coming to the private dinner didn't really dance. So it made it really perfect that my friends and extended family and church family and things like that, people who weren't invited to the immediate reception, they were able to come later that evening, have something to drink, have some chocolate-covered strawberries. They had cake, and they were able to dance with me, hang out, talk, do different things like that. The only thing that they didn't have was dinner, which was just fine, right? Because I didn't expect them to bring a gift. They weren't expected to eat dinner. It was perfectly fine. And it all turned out perfectly. And guess what? My mother-in-law and my dad do not bring up the fact that so-and-so wasn't there, so-and-so didn't come to a reception. They don't care anymore. They were excited in the beginning and really wanted to show me and Darren off to everybody and say, hey, they're getting married, our babies are getting married. But now that it's over, they go about their lives, and so do we. And we are so thankful that we did not spend a ton of money up front on the guest list and creating this really immaculate reception when nobody barely dances. You know, all the people there for food, and then they left early anyway. All my friends that was left was on the dance floor. All the people who at the private dinner really didn't dance, and so it worked out completely perfect. All I'm gonna say, it worked out perfectly. All right. Now, as far as invitations, so after you create the guest list, you want to get invitations created. I am a high proponent of digital invitations. We did digital invitations for our wedding, and I loved it. I'm gonna post a link to our wedding invitation as well, so you can get a look at what it looks like. Shout out to my friend Devin, who's a graphic artist. She did our wedding invitation as a gift to me. Like I said in the previous video, in the budget video, try to get your gifts up front so you don't have to pay as much expenses out of pocket, pay as much money out of pocket on things to get your wedding accomplished. One of the things that we did not pay for was the bridal shower invitation, was the bachelorette party invitation, nor my wedding invitation. My friend Devin, who's a graphic artist, her gift to us was our wedding invitation. And then the wedding, the bridal shower and the bachelorette party invites, my best friend and my bridesmaid, Asia, who's a graphic designer as well, she created those. And so I didn't have to pay for getting digital invitations done, but I do think paying a small amount of money for them to get done would be a good line item in your budget, all right? And then what I did is I got the digital invites created, and then I started collecting names, phone numbers, email address, mailing address of all the guests. So the people that my dad sent, he had to give me their first and last names, their phone numbers, their email address, and their mailing address. My mother-in-law had to get all of them. My husband had to get all of his people, and then I got all my people. I was not doing 100% of the legwork. If you want your people there, you have to give me their information. And I don't want it to come up short. I need name, first and last, spelled out, their cell phone numbers, I need their email address, and I need their mailing address. And here's why. The email is needed to send them the digital invite, right? Because you're going to send a PDF form or a JPEG or like a photo of the email invite, and then you're going to put in there, hey, we cordially invite you to the wedding of Darren and Tara Williamson or whatever. And then you put the flyer in there, the wedding invitation in there, and then say, please RSVP to ... And then you put the link to your wedding website RSVP page, right? So, but in order to be able to send out those digital invites, you have to collect their email addresses. So email addresses are needed to send out the digital invites. Their mailing addresses are needed to send physical thank you cards as you start to receive wedding gifts. So for me, I'm a big proponent. It's very classy for you to put physical thank you cards in your line as a line item in your budget. I also include in that package of the budget tracker and the checklist, I also include literally a PDF format of our actual budget that we executed. And you will see thank you cards in there. I got some really nice thank you cards that went along with our wedding, wedding colors. And every time somebody sent me a gift, they got a physical thank you card, right? And then you need your phone number. You need the phone numbers of individuals, especially older, elderly individuals who did not RSVP, but you anticipate them coming or wondering if they're coming because they might not be as email or text savvy. So you will have individuals like, the email and the digital route is not without its headache a little bit. The only thing that I had trouble with is there are certain people who were older and elderly who really didn't use email. And so I had to call them personally, tell them that this is the wedding time, the wedding date, made sure I got what they wanted for their meal and things like that. And it was only a handful of people, but I wanted to make sure that I have everybody's contact information in case I have any questions, all right? Now, when you, in your Zola, your free Zola account, you will be able to store, like as you start to collect the email, the address, phone number, all of that, store all of that information, input all that information as you get it into the back end of your Zola account. And this will be straightforward once you sign up. But basically, you could start creating your guest list that's for your wedding ceremony and for your reception, and you can click to say this person is like, this is their person's name, email address, phone number, mailing address. They're invited to both reception and ceremony, or some are invited to ceremony only, right? You'll be able to decipher who is who, and then you can be able to download 2 different guest lists, or you could just email at one time all the people from the ceremony and all the people from reception. It just makes it so easy and straightforward to use, all right? Now with the digital invite, I sent the digital invites 3 months before the wedding date. So mine went out November 15th. My first round of digital invites went out November 15th. About 40% of people RSVP'd, and then about 1 month before the wedding, I sent it out again, and more people RSVP'd. 3 weeks to 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks before the wedding, I sent it out for a third time, a reminder email. More people RSVP'd. And then if you didn't RSVP within a week of the wedding and you were elderly and older, and I kind of heard through the grapevine that you were coming, I gave you a call and said, hey, Aunt Myrna, Aunt Stacy, are you coming to the wedding? If so, what would you like? Because I didn't get your RSVP. What food would you like? Blah, 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 to make sure everything was all set. And that's how I managed my digital invite process, and it was very easy, very straightforward, very streamlined. And I also, in the back end of my Zola, created the bridal shower guest list, and I also created the bachelorette party guest list, which was just all the women in my bridal party, just was the guest list for my bachelorette party. But my bridal shower had 25 women. Remember, how many people you invite is how many people you have to feed, right? Don't just think about the gifts that you're going to get or may not get, because a lot of people don't bring gifts. Let's be clear. Don't do it for the gifts. Do it for the memories, right? So I invited 25 of my closest women, friends, family for my bridal shower of 25. I could have easily invited 50 to 60 people, but I didn't. It was 25 of my people that I talked to on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And that's how we kept that amount that that my bridal party had to pay out of pocket for my bridal shower, because it wasn't a lot of people that they had to pay for, right? And I got a lot of gifts, and a lot of amazing gifts, and a lot of money with just 25 people. And it was very fun, and it was memorable, and it was amazing, and it was everything I wanted, all right? So thank you so much for watching this video. This is video number 7 in the series, and make sure you go back and watch the other ones if this is the first one that you're catching Also, make sure you click the link in the description box to get the checklist, to get the budget tracker, and also to get my actual budget that I use to create and execute the $5,500 wedding on a budget in less than 6 months here in 2020. We got married in February 2020, so it ain't like it was years ago. These are real numbers. This can happen for you this year or next year. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in video number 8. Bye-bye.